I am in Airtable and I have opened this inventory list. Someone has just placed an order for an HP EliteBook, so I need to update the current quantity. Coincidentally, my coworker is also in the same cell and updating it. If I click outside, I can see the latest value. Now, let's assume I don't know that my coworker is also in the same cell. I am taking an order for an HP EliteBook, and my coworker is also taking a different order for an EliteBook. Let's see what happens when we both update the number to 13. I update it to 13, and she also updates it to 13. When I click outside, I see 13. But it should be 12, because between the two of us, we have sold 2 HP EliteBooks. But we overwrote each other. I don't even know that this has happened. Even when I click outside, I don't see the correct value because my coworker and I have overwritten each other. One of our updates was lost. This is known as the lost update problem. Here, I am using VisualDB to track my inventory. I am taking an order for an HB EliteBook. I see the current quantity is 14, and I changed the quantity to 13. While I'm doing that, my coworker is processing a different order for an HP EliteBook. While I'm making the change from 14 to 13, my coworker is also making the change from 14 to 13. After making the change, I am going to save my change. Look what happens. VisualDB will not allow me to make the change. It detected that while I made the change from 14 to 13, someone else also made the change from 14 to 13. VisualDB makes me decide how to resolve this conflict. I'm going to discard my change and keep the current version in the database, which is 13. Now I am going to reapply my change by reducing the quantity from 13 to 12. Now I can save again. And that works. The final value is 12, which is the correct value. In this scenario, I am using Airtable to manage patients in a nursing home. I have a list of patients here, their medications, and their dosages. The doctor has asked for John's amoxicillin dosage to be doubled. Let's see, he's currently getting 250 milligrams every 8 hours. There are 2 ways to do this. I can either increase the dosage to 500 milligrams or change the frequency to every 4 hours. There are 2 nurses in the nursing home. Both nurses heard the instructions. I am one of the nurses, and I am going to change the dosage from 250 milligrams to 500. While I'm doing that, unbeknownst to me, the other nurse has decided to change the frequency from 8 hours to 4 hours. Now, I don't see that change. I just click outside, and I assume everything is fine. But it is not. Because while I was making this change, the other nurse changed the frequency to 4 hours. Now, both of these changes are fine on their own, but when you combine these 2 changes, you get a dangerous record. The first change is to increase the dosage from 250 to 500 milligrams. On its own, that's fine. The other change is to change the frequency from 8 hours to 4 hours. That's a valid way to increase the dosage. But you should not be doing both at the same time. But since there are 2 people using Airtable at the same time, they were able to make conflicting changes. Airtable allowed 2 correct changes to mix and produce an incorrect final record. That's very dangerous. In this scenario, we are using VisualDB to manage nursing home patients, keeping track of their medications and their dosages. So, the doctor has asked for John's amoxicillin dosage to be doubled. I am one of the nurses. I heard the instructions. I looked at the data. John is getting 250 milligrams every 8 hours. There are two ways to make the change. I can either change the dosage to 500 milligrams or I can change the frequency to every 4 hours. I decided to change the dosage to 500 milligrams. While I am doing that, unbeknownst to me, the other nurse has decided to change the frequency from 8 hours to 4 hours. After making the change, I click Save. Look what happens. Visual DB detected a conflict. It says someone else changed another field in the same record while I was changing dosage. The changes were made to different fields, but since it was the same record, Visual DB makes you review the changes. You can review the changes field by field and decide which version to keep. The default is to keep my version for all fields. I review the changes. I decided to keep my version for all fields, so I click OK. Then I save it. Now see what happens. The patient is safe because the dosage is doubled, but the frequency is unchanged.